There's so many buttons to click when we transition from one thing to another thing. It's like okay, I gotta hit the music, then transition the scene, then make sure I'm unmuted, then make sure like it's so many
Roll,
buttons.
roll to
Anyway,
resist buttons.
we're back. It's cool. Production. What can I say? Um, I believe Gemini and Capricorn were facing off when
Yeah,
last we cut from commercial.
you're having a sick battle, but I think at this point, like a bunch of the henches are starting to show up because are very successfully being the center of attention.
Yeah, I love being in the middle of everyone.
What's your jam now?
So that clock is essentially full now, eh?
No, I mean there's still time. They're not going to be messing as directly as they might with your other companions. You're like successfully keeping everyone else busy.
Okay.
It's just becoming everyone else at this point. Is the problem.
Okay. So I'm going to actually attempt to analyze the situation. Try to get a deeper understanding about what's going on. So maybe I'm not so much on the offense as much as I'm looking for a way out at this point.
Why are we fighting?
Totally.
Because you charged me.
And I roll as one stat now. Yes?
Yeah, so
Okay.
you get access to all of your dice there. It's split between your two people.
Risky standard?
Yeah, if you were like, I'm fighting this massive gang of people head on, I'd be like, cool, you're in desperate position. But for now, yeah, it's risky.
Okay.
And you're looking for a way out?
Looking for a way out or looking for a way to make the situation better for me.
Okay.
Because this situation isn't going to last long. And Gemini needs to think.
Cool. So then we'll just call it risky standard.
Okay. 5.
Yeah, I think the obvious one is just to keep advancing this thing.
Yeah.
So basically you're like in the process of like fighting, and there's a lot of like dodging and maneuvering to try to avoid letting all of this like large number of hench people like get at you.
Yeah.
Because we're still on like really narrow stuff, and I imagine a lot of like leaping over or around people, so they all have to like pile into each other and can't get at you.
Yeah.
And the fight is kind of like migrating around, and you're like scanning and looking.
Yeah, like there isn't like a lot of damage that they're doing. It's a lot of, hey, look at me type of situation.
Yeah, because like the stakes here aren't like, do I beat up them or do they beat up me? It's just like you're just trying to like buy time and get away.
Yeah.
So I think the course of all of this gives you an opportunity to, like you can, I will let you know where an exit is and what you need to do to get to it.
Okay.
And you can ask me a gather info question kind of about your circumstances.
Sure. I mean, I want to ask this one, but I think it's the most obvious as the most obvious answer. But who can help or who can best help me with the problem at hand?
I mean, the bad answer is, of course, that it's Aquila, and he's about to fuck up. But there are two ways out of here.
Okay.
One is with Aquila, because you know for sure they're not going to follow you down into that thing, and you can. I think like in this moment where you're like fighting along the gangways, like Aquila like gets launched up, and so she's like at like eye level with you for a moment. And like this whole like exchange happens and everything. And then here's my question, I guess, for Aquila is, are you just gonna like dive in there now?
So
or are you gonna do
here is the thing. I have a move. my transcendent move, on the other side of time. You can push yourself to do one of the following: suddenly appear next to your enemy ready to strike, or pull someone out of the flow of time, removing them from harm's way. I have been wanting to do this to Samantha.
Yeah.
So that's currently what my
You're
thought is on
going
the
to
table.
pull Samantha out of the flow of time. That's fantastic.
Okay.
I can see the wheels turning.
Trying to think of like, yeah, what interactions will be at play there. Okay, so then
My other potential option here, which I guess I'm okay with since we're in this situation now, is to use that on Gemini and then just
Gemini-
to dive into the black hole.
so
As much as I would like to use my move to save the day.
I would say use your move to save the day because that sounds incredibly badass.
So your ways out are to dive into space by way of this portal that lies below you, or if you want to go back out the way you came or out some other like area into the sewers, there are like a couple ways out of this chamber, but you will have to leave everyone behind. Because they're all busy and separated from you. There's no like clean escape.
No, that's perfectly fine.
If you want to stay together, it's probably going to mean exposing yourself to a lot of danger and or going into the black hole. And if you want to get away, it's going to mean ditching. You might be able to bring some of these goons with you for as long as your buying time thing lasts while you're escaping. But
no, I think Gemini is very much stay together. Like she feels connected to, or they feel connected to these people.
I mean, yeah, we're better together, right?
Pardon?
We're better together, right?
Exactly. So yeah, I think she stays around or they stay around and keep trying to distract.
I mean, at any time you can basically dive off of this platform down to where Corvus is.
Yeah.
And hang out with them. That is like an exit that is always available to you.
Yes. Okay. I know how I'm doing this then. I think Gemini sees Corvus and understands that they're not they don't trust the fusion. But I think they jump and go, trust fall.
You realize that you realize that this is a bad idea, right?
Oh no, absolutely. But Giselle's promise is to try to pull you into the light. And we do that with teamwork.
And you jump like right past Aquila, essentially, who is staring at this black hole with, Charybdis reflecting in her eyes.
Oh yeah, everything's bad here, but we need to be buddied up again.
Because the call of Charybdis is strong.
And so my question to Corvus is like, would you catch Gemini? Is there any chance that you like, one, would you just be like willing to do it as it stands now, or two, could you be convinced?
I'm not sure, because like, is this just like you're gonna land in my arms, or are you like activating fusion powers as you fall to like
way that this
screw
is
with
gonna
me?
work to include you in the fusion is that they momentarily separate. So it's catching two smaller people instead of catching one big person. With the horrible side effect that if you don't catch both, one of them sinks into the black hole.
Yeah, that's real bad for you.
I mean, there's our dark bargain right there, right?
Yeah.
I guess I have to catch you because it's that or you just die. Those are my choices.
You can resist being dead. It's fine.
Corvus definitely doesn't look like she's happy about it. You're like, trust fall, and she's busy like hand-to-handing some goon, and then suddenly there's like a person walking towards her, and she's like, oh, fuck, you know? But like more elegant and edgy and cool, like, shit, you know? Like, and
Yeah.
then tries
Does
to
she
catch-
like leap up to catch them, or
Yeah, she does like a little like hop up to try and like absorb some of that fall.
off of some
Yeah.
goon who's running at you? You like
Yeah, like
hit their face and vault
off his face, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so let's.
So who's rolling an action here, and what is this action?
I think it's a group action,
Is
potentially.
this like a group embody?
It definitely seems like a group in body.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So our dark bargain. See, it can't quite be that like if you fail, one of them falls in.
Yeah, because then you've got no fusion and you're dead.
Yeah, it was real bad.
Oh yeah.
But I think what the dark bargain could be is that all of you go into the thing instead of landing back on the platform, but you avoid being attacked by henches and any other problem. You just have to deal with being in space. And like y'all can survive in space. You aren't gonna die in space unless you're not transcended. Then you're definitely gonna die in space.
I think we're trying to avoid that right now.
I think Aquala's got the space part handled.
Yeah.
I don't need extra die. I've got 2 in embody, so.
Okay.
And I use her embody.
Right, because you're temporarily fusing together.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about like what it looks like when the 3 of you are fused instead of just the pair
Oh
of
god, this is going to be intense.
I'm gonna be
Okay.
very upset with you.
so
Oh good. I hope you are.
this is a desperate roll.
Oh yeah. No, I accept that.
The effect can be standard.
Okay.
And so y'all's goal is to like land on the platform and be like in a position to effectively fight off the henches and set up
Effectively
Aquila.
leave, yeah. To set up Aquila and effectively leave after.
And y'all are going to GTFO. Okay, great. So yeah,
Well,
maybe it's like you all
GTFO
connect midair and then end up somewhere else entirely, right? Not where Corvus started out and not where Gemini was, but some other place. Because presumably the 3 of you together are some kind of like super mobile, enormous.
I mean, Corvus on her own has the ability to sort of like poof very like a small distance we've set up in the past, like
Yeah,
if it comes down to it.
Gemini themselves are very acrobatic and agile as well.
Cool. So yeah, I like this.
Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I get this right because this seems ridiculous. So I roll Corvus's embody and then add 2 because we're both transcended.
No, because if she were helping you,
Yeah.
you would roll her
If I were
embody. and add
helping
2
you-
dice.
you-
But it's a group action, so you're both rolling her embody,
Yeah.
Okay.
which is still
Okay.
really good.
Yeah.
And then if you could have synchronized, where then you would count multiple.
Yeah, I don't
sixes
have
crit and only take up most 1 stress. And that would be
Okay.
like fully souped up group action.
Cool, so 2 die.
Yeah, so you're both rolling 2 die, unless either of you want to push yourselves or.
I can't afford to.
Nope, I got it.
Okay, so there's
Hang on.
There's
at
a
least
success.
that. But does Gemini take any stress? I mean, I
Nope.
love the idea of you taking a bunch of stress trying to incorporate
Wow. No.
her
This
into your vision,
is-
but it's perfect. If you had that move, it would have been a crit.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just this like perfect, elegant like maneuver. What does it look
So-
like?
So, but I think the thing is, when you're dropping, Corvus is expecting to catch you, not be fused into like the Gemini like weirdness that's going on here. So I think what it looks like is we're trying to set up Aquila, so we're trying to like bring henchmen away from her, I guess. And like let that happen. So from my side, what it would be like momentary confusion, annoyance, and then a short like a short teleport like to another gangplank to make minions like follow us.
Right, and it's like a two-stage thing where you like teleport to one and then leap to another, so they all like try to
Yeah.
run to the one and then can't get to it.
Exactly. Like I'm just trying to like lead them around.
Yeah, on like a merry chase.
But I don't know what that looks like from like Gemini's side.
No, I think that sounds about right.
And what is
Like-
the? Can you describe for us, Cavalier, what the like combined fusion looks like?
Dear God. So I definitely think that all three of them, while they're in one body, they all grow like 2 feet in height. Like they are a significantly bigger individual for the split second.
Yeah. I like the idea of the fusion like becoming physically larger the more people are incorporated.
Yeah, and I think like when you look at how much extra mass is being put in there, I think Corvus looks more bird-like now. Like she has the disjointed legs going on.
Okay, so the like Gemini Corvus fusion in general has like bird legs and
Like
what
and
elements of each person like exist within this?
like
Yeah, because it's like one entity of the three of them, right?
yeah, absolutely. And like Corvus's cape becomes more slender. Like it stops being as rough of feathers and starts being this starry celestial tapestry that comes down.
Cool.
And the symbol on the back of it is a bird's or a bird face, and the signs for the Gemini turn into wings, but they're still very superficially there.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I think also that like the Gemini mask would still be present. Like this is like their fusion, and there's like some aspects of Corvus's costume that are like incorporated, but
Yeah,
mostly it's still Gemini. And it's only for a couple of moments that this is like how it remains, because Corvus immediately, like, her natural reaction is like, no, get off. You know, like, exactly. So there's like
And
a
I-
moment of this new creature.
and I feel like Gemini completely respects that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like, hey, we're out of danger. Nope, bye. I know
Yeah.
you don't want me in here.
Yeah. No, get out of my brain, please.
What does it feel like?
Oh man, like they have like I'm basing Gemini off of like Gemini traits, and they are the exact opposite of Corvus in my mind.
I mean, what it shouts to me whenever you're talking about fusion, you're talking about like acting as a one thing and like having one purpose or like mind at least for a moment. And the thing is, like, the two Geminis are really used to the idea of like working in sync and like doing a thing together and like, you know, making decisions that are all the same decision sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Corvus sort of rails against that because she's, you know, edgy and mysterious and like she works alone and comes to help because she wants to, you know, like rather than like being a team player.
What is considered profane? People in community.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't like being close to people in this way. This is like really intimate and she's not into it.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like for the split second too, you connect more with Giselle.
Mm-hmm.
And you get the big urge that we want to go find Scorpio.
Okay. There's like a
There's that
momentary vibe there.
common goal.
Yeah, because it's like a thing between the three of us that's like the same. It sort of resonates briefly.
Yeah, that's like one of the few things that actually like knits you guys together.
I also think that during the time that they're together, like that moment that it takes them to get out of like harm's way, I think the Gemini has to cede more control to Corvus because she's not willing to cooperate. It's one of those things where it's like, I want to go this way, and she moves to do it rather than like getting a consensus sort of thing.
Gemini has to graciously bottom for
Yeah,
while you-
for a few seconds while we get like set.
another needy top. Typical.
Yeah, exactly.
Needy top and 2 bottoms. Let's go.
But yeah, so she separates once they're on the gangway further away. And then what the hell's going on with Aquila during all of this business?
Yeah. Where are you flying, little bird?
Gosh. I think Aquila touches her amulet, and I think the pool ripples.
Ooh.
And I think everything just stops.
And so you're like suspended in air, but not falling, just like floating there.
Yeah, and she can like move, so she just like floats down, and she floats through the pool. And like as she passes, like it makes motion now, like it
totally.
makes them. And she goes out to the black hole, and the black hole is still churning.
Of course, because it is already outside the flow of time.
Yeah, but it can't like Samantha has been pulled out of time, so it's like not being able to consume her, and it's just like getting frustrated or something. And
yeah, it's like it like changes color as you approach from being this like orange like arc of energy coming out of it to this like deeper red purple color.
yeah.
And you hear its voice. And it just says, "Why stop us? Let us eat."
And
its voice is like like impossibly large in your mind.
yeah, and like Aquila swoops down towards Sam, and as she does so, she says, "You are destined to have your fill. But it is not today. It is not these people. I will not allow you and yours to defy time." And then she's going to take Sam, and she leans in close, and she like kisses Sam's forehead. And I think Sam just like poofs, like vanishes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying to think.
You're gonna roll dice.
Okay. Yeah, because I want to get her out of harm's way. I want to get her out of here, even if I'm stuck here. So
yeah. Are you like bargaining with Charybdis? Is this like what is going on here? What action would you like to roll?
I just had some Doctor Strange vibes from this, like the all-powerful space being.
Yeah, and like
Hello.
little tiny Aquila flying up to it.
Yeah, it's this enormous black hole.
Like you come up to it and it's just this massive sheer like black wall radiating this like blind
right.
energy.
It's like mind-bogglingly, incomprehensibly huge.
Yeah.
Like
you stop time and it takes you like 100 years to fly the distance, right? Like it's this weird thing. Are you gonna forgive Charybdis?
I don't know that I can forgive a black hole.
Like it's sentient. It's a thing. It's a person.
Yeah.
Of a sort.
Is it evil?
I mean, it's its nature to consume and
consume.
crush things, right? Like that's all it can do.
Yeah. And yeah, I think I will forgive it. I think I will forgive the black hole.
Because it sounds like you're either doing that or like expressing to it and being like, "Hey, no, stop. We're like, you'll get yours eventually. Like, time doesn't matter. Just wait. Don't eat this one. Eat me later."
I think
You could definitely bargain with it that way if you wanted to.
Yeah, that might be good too.
It's totally up to you.
I think
I don't know
will,
how much.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I'll express.
I will also put forward the following thought that occurs to me, which is you could confess to it that you like have accepted that it's going to eat you eventually, right? Like there, you could pull that angle too. This could be a confess if you wanted it to be. But then you just need to reveal some juicy secret to us. Give me the secret. Arr. That is just a third notion I have.
I think so. I think as I lean down, like right before she kisses Sam's head, she says, "I have fed you enough."
Yeah. Yeah, confess to the black hole. That's great.
Oh.
So I cannot offer you a dark bargain because you have already pushed yourself for this whole opportunity.
What's my position?
Well, let me take a look. So what move did you take as the time traveler? What abilities do you have?
So I have, let me tell you real quick.
Do you have Dark Omen?
I do.
Okay, so then you have Great Effect.
All right, yeah, I have Dark Omen and I have Out of Time, and then my Transcendent ability is on the other side of time. So
yeah, and so here's how Dark Omen factors in, right? You're using your impossible knowledge to persuade this massive black hole not to eat someone.
Yes.
And the fate that you have like warned of is that like you're going to feed it people in the future. So if you ever feed anyone to Charybdis,
I get
you mark
XP.
experience. I'm just putting that out there. This is my interpretation of this move in this moment.
Excellent.
And carry on.
Oh.
And so you're rolling your confess plus 1 die for pushing yourself.
Okay, so
you're having
dice.
Great effect, but this is a desperate roll.
Okay, so desperate great, 2 dice.
Because this thing is like impossibly vast and incomprehensible and exists outside of time.
Yeah, of course it does. So this is desperate my way. Let me just mark experience for that. And desperate.
I love this whole like kind of space opera-y vibe of this like sequence.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's
really
super cool. I'm imagining the starships in the background of this in the dark future that is like around.
I got a 4.
Oh, that's the best result.
Oh god.
We both get everything we ever wanted.
All I wanted was to kill you. That's all I wanted. Okay, so first, like you kiss Samantha on the forehead, and yeah, she like is gone.
Yeah.
I think like she wakes up as you're doing it because she was like curled in the fetal position, like eyes closed, being slowly like the very edge of her was starting to touch into the event horizon and be like distorted and ripped away, and suddenly that all stops, and she like wakes up and looks at you and like locks eyes with you, and goes to like gasp. But she's in fucking space. And so there's just this like nothing. And then she's like disappears.
Oh.
So she's okay. You have saved her from being consumed by Charybdis. We'll just get rid of this clock. Great work.
Thank you.
However,
the
Dark Star Charybdis demands something.
Are you sure we're not playing the bad one?
It would be so much worse if this were the bad one. This is what people don't understand.
Could you imagine if the Dark Star Charybdis was the thing? Like, oh my god.
In the bad one, there is no harm but level 4 harm.
Well, in the bad one, like you can never redeem people. It's just not an option. There's no cleanse a person or location because you can't do it. Stuff like that. But of course, the Charybdis just wants to see its emptiness reflected in others. And so you can take, geez. I mean,
level 4 harm is reasonable here.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be level 3 harm, the hunger, and then we're gonna start a clock for you. It's gonna be an 8 count, and this is one that you can like assuage by feeding people to Charybdis. And we're calling this the hunger.
So I'm taking a level 3 harm, the hunger.
Yes, and then we're starting a clock for it. So this is like the first pangs of starvation that you are feeling in your stomach is level 3 harm. And then gonna have the hunger. The hunger is gonna start at 2. It's gonna start at 2. 2 out of 8. If you feed people to it, it will go down.
I would like to not have that clock.
Okay, I'm just I'm just offering stuff up.
That's fine.
I mean, I would resist the harm first personally, but you know what? That's just me. I like being a space vampire. Okay, so you can resist it.
Me too.
Is Aquila a space vampire?
I don't think she is.
I don't think she
your
is,
reaction
no.
was pretty strong there.
Yeah.
But let's see here. What resist is this? Bloop, bloop, bloop. It is... I mean, it's got to be Moe, right? This is just like...
This is the Moeest fucking thing.
Yeah, this is despair, right? This is you embracing this fate that you have foretold, that you will like feed people to the Dark Star Charybdis.
Yeah.
You monster.
I'm the worst. Boom. 1 stress.
No problem.
I'm at 8 of 9.
Okay, cool. So the hunger track is at 0.
And I take 3.
And you take level 3 harm.
Yep.
Yeah, to be clear, you're not getting rid of the clock, Sean. It's just starting at 0. If you want to get rid of this completely, you'll have to start a long-term project about it.
That's fine.
Because I'm a jerk, is basically why.
That's fine. That's why we play games with you.
Yeah. Also, like, technically I'm playing within the rules.
The rules that you write.
These are your rules.
No, but one thing I just want to push for more in terms of like tone with this particular game of Girl by Moonlight with you all is just that anytime you resist stuff, it's very rarely like, that you get away clean.
Yeah.
That like resistance is like reducing consequence, not eliminating it entirely, which is, it's a dial. Like you can dial it the other way where it's like, yeah, you just resist it and it's fine. But I like this one being really consequential and gritty and like having you all gather these horrible things to you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, great. So we had this whole sequence.
Yeah, I had my moment in the sun.
You're gonna have to get out of there somehow. Yeah, up above, the 2 of you, well, the 3 of you, the yous of you, the bunch of you, y'all. So your friend, there's like this moment, and then Aquila is no longer in the air. She is just like gone. And there are these like ripples in the water suddenly. In fact, there's like a splash in the pool, and all of the like vision of the like space beyond is all like distorted and troubled and strange. And we hear this like this is like stone on stone like grinding sound, but like amplified like absurdly, just like fills the whole space. And I think we see like Capricorn like fall to their knees and like clutch at their head and like scream. And all the henches, like some of them like look back and are like concerned, others are like running for you guys. There's just like total chaos in the space. What do you do?
So Aquila hasn't reappeared, right? She's gone?
No, she's just gone. There's going to be like a moment here where we don't know what becomes of her, and then we'll swing back to Aquila and like see how that all shakes out.
Okay, well, I shout into the darkness, basically, if anything can hear me above this grinding noise, like this huge grinding noise, like, Aquila! We have to get out of here! Say something if you need me! Like looking for some kind of reply.
Okay, so Corvus is kind of losing it and screaming into space.
Yeah.
What does Gemini do?
I think Gemini sees this and starts trying to figure out what's actually going on here. which I think is more of a perceived thing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You're just like, what is actually going on here? What the actual fuck?
Yeah, like this is their jam, not our jam. They have some weird blueberry blackberry jam going on, and I just want to remain strawberry. That'll do.
Yeah, so what would you like to ask me? What would you like to know? You can ask me a couple questions. I'm going to give you like good detail here.
Okay. So, I mean, the first one that comes to mind is how are Aquila and this chaos connected?
Well,
I mean, I know the answer.
Yeah, but how would Gemini perceive this answer? I think maybe like somehow like, and like, you know, this is impossible that you could see this, right? But like you see it anyways. Like you can see Aquila down at Charybdis. Like the like glow of her is there somehow.
Okay.
Like briefly, it's like this brief flash as the crazy like rippling water distorts the image. You can like see this for just a moment. And the connection is that like the light that the like energy that is like sloughing off of the black hole and the color of her glow are like briefly the same.
Yeah.
And there's this moment where you're like, wait a minute. and like, you know, you just like do a little mental inventory of like all the things you have seen happen just now, where like Aquila nearly like falling to darkness and her gem, like the gem in her pendant, like with that baleful glow and all this stuff. It's kind of like, maybe there's some bad stuff going on. Maybe it's like quite bad. It's not clear why, but just that there is that connection, that the two of them are linked in some way, and that they share like an energy source.
Okay.
That much is clear, but like the why of it isn't, because you're rolling perceive, right? We only get this surface layer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by all means, ask me another question.
Who here feels alone?
I mean, it sounds like Corvus feels alone, but also Capricorn is alone. Both of them are.
Oh, goody. And then...
yeah, because like, Elf, am I correct in that read that Corvus is like real upset that Aquila did what she did?
Well, the thing is, like, she's supposed to be there for Aquila, right? And Aquila's like gone to this horribly dangerous place. And Corvus is sort of aware, I think, of like how horribly dangerous, you know, to a certain extent in her past.
I mean, you're familiar with Charybdis, right? So you know how horrible this is.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? She's just like panicked and like worried for her very good friend who she likes more than friends sometimes.
Okay, so I'm hearing two things here. One, that is the answer to Gemini's question, but that also Gemini sees that Capricorn is alone. There's this moment where they're like in incredible pain. Clearly, they're like screaming and clutching their head, and no one is helping them. Like all the minions are off doing other shit. There's no one being like, "Are you okay, Capricorn?" Capricorn is just there, like writhing in agony on the floor. Oh
man, that puts me in a fun situation.
Corvus, please make a Moe resist roll for me, because like,
okay,
just the fiction that you have just described like pretty much demands this. I feel like
true.
If you think it's fair, because just like your friend has been,
I'm okay with it.
As far as you know, eaten by a black hole. If you're transcended, you have 1 die.
Oh yeah, you're right. I always forget about that. That's real bad. Boom.
Nice.
And so, yeah, like part of the reason I called for the role is we get to see like, so how do you hold it together, right? Like, what gives you hope in this moment of
I
like
think
complete abject despair?
I think it's remembering like the other things that we've done and that like Aquila makes decisions that are good for her sort of thing. Like she does things in the gentle way and like tries to, convert the nasty hooded things and um like takes this approach that like maybe Charybdis won't expect, like from anyone.
So you just
Yeah.
you believe in her so hard
Yeah,
that
I
you're
just
not
believe. I just
Oh.
believe. I just believe in her. I
Yeah.
just have faith that she's doing the thing that she knows what she's doing. Right?
Which is ironic because this is the one time where actually that pattern went in reverse and she actually got corrupted by the badness. But anyways, we don't know that yet, and that's fine.
Oh, dramatic irony.
What is Gemini gonna do?
I think they see Corvus regain themselves. Still doesn't know what to do with the missing Aquila, but I think they're going to go and try to help Capricorn.
Yes. Capricorn is sad and alone and has secrets and stuff. Go help them.
Like, I feel like all the knights are still somewhat connected to each other. Like they don't,
Because like, yeah, y'all could have been all on the same team, right? Yeah.
But then this like calamity happened, and now we're not on the same team.
And it's like, and because our darkness wants to avenge some ancient wrong, right? Like there was a fracturing within. It's like a civil war between these two groups, right? So
yeah,
presumably there's this notion that maybe y'all could have just gotten along.
Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and like extend a hand to them and go, hey, we're not alone in this.
And they like, yeah, they like look up at you and they're like, maybe you're not. And then like they're clearly like kind of withering, like all their like muscle and tissue has kind of like shrunk down against their bones, and they're all like super messed up.
See, I don't know if this is even possible.
That's probably unhealthy.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But would I be able to exchange the rest of my transcendent clock to help them? Give them the energy that they need to resist this like withering necrotic effect on them. And I mean, that's up to you.
So this is a cool idea, and it's very appropriate in this moment because that is kind of what's missing for them, is that energy to actually be their like transcendent self.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you can totally do that. You're gonna spend one to like make a roll to do this and see how it goes.
Okay.
Either way, you'll push all of your remaining transcendence onto them, or something will happen. Okay. And then what comes next will follow from the dice. So that's great. Okay. What action would you like to use here?
I
forgive leaps to mind as like the most clear one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
I was thinking empathy, actually.
Empathy is also really good, yeah. Like, and I think you are
like,
being like, yeah, you don't have to feel alone. It's okay. It's about like, feelings.
Yeah, like we're in this together.
Cool. Yeah, you can totally roll empathy to do that, and to like, by way of your empathetic connection, transfer some of your power to them so that they don't just like wither and die.
Yeah.
In an act that might destabilize the cosmos by ruining the balance, blah blah blah. Shit like that.
Absolutely.
So, cool.
I'm not going to push myself because that's not even going to make canonical sense to me. Yeah, push myself into darkness to forgive you and bring you to us.
Well then, we have to come up with a good dark bargain here, team. One that'll really just like, put the screws to the...
I mean, if you're transferring power to Capricorn, basically, like if you're giving over power, maybe there's like a little bit too much closeness because you're a fusion, like like
There's like
how
bleed.
could that work? Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like some bleed over like.
Or you have to pay the
Either
tax
way.
man, and the tax man is the darkness, and the darkness hunts us.
That actually I think is great. Yeah, that you get extra
True.
1, 2, 1, 2.
I was thinking
Two.
one. Darkness hunts us is big.
I'm actually going to be
Yeah.
a devil's advocate for 2.
I think you're gonna get so much heat off of this mission anyways that I think
Okay.
1 is good. 1 is a fair fair request.
I
Because
learned
it's-
this using heat and blades in my IRL game is that it adds up. It adds up quick.
Yeah, y'all are gonna be like most of the way through the 3rd tier by the
Okay.
time we're done resolving all the fallout. So
Perfect. I'll take it then.
okay, cool. So that gives you an extra die on your empathize. This is fucking desperate if ever there was. Like this is so because like presumably if all of the power is being sucked out of Capricorn, then if you feed power into them, you might just also like be feeding a black hole like literally you're gonna be feeding a black hole. So it's real bad if it goes bad. And then also you're gonna be left without any power and anyways, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Desperate. But we'll give you I mean, if it were anyone other than the fusion doing this, I would say like standard at best, but I think you get great effect because this is like your jam. This is totally the most fusion-y thing that I can think of. And I think as part of this, you're going to like briefly fuse with Capricorn.
Oh, I
That's what I was going for.
I have 2 mental images for this, depending if it goes well or bad. I think if it goes poorly, there's a fusion and Capricorn learns maybe a bit too much of Gemini. Think if it goes well, both halves of Gemini are just pulling them up to their feet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's roll some dice and see what happens.
Yeah, so you got 1 from the Dark Bargain, and then whatever your empathy dice are. No one else is helping you or anything, so go ahead and roll. Desperate, great.
Hundreds of light years away.
Woo! There it is. Is it a crit?
No,
It's
it's
a
not.
6.
Oh, that'd been amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So all your transcendence is gone. There's like
absolutely.
this brief shining moment where it's the 3 of you fused together. I would love to hear about like what that looks like. In the same way that like when you had Corvus in, there was like the long cape and the different the wings and the mask and the bird legs and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
What happens when you have goatfish up in your biz?
So I think their fusion looks really regal, actually. Like Capricorn already looked really fancy, but the fusion of them together like makes the helmet piece like this elegant piece
With like the ram's horns.
like with the ram's horns, and any sort of like faults that it had before are completely repaired.
It's like these very like perfect form spirals, right?
And I feel like the mask is gone, actually. So there's no mask, but what you see with the fusion is that there's 3 sets of eyes.
Oh yeah, and one of them is the square pupiled goat's eyes.
Yeah, no, they're all square.
Or they're all the square pupil. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, so it's just like a face with 6 pairs of eyes on it.
Yeah.
Sick.
And like the staff changes as well. And it becomes this fused symbol between Capricorn and Gemini. So I have to quickly look up the Capricorn.
What is the Capricorn symbol again? It's like a V thing with like a curly thing attached to it.
So
it's a weird ass symbol.
That is a lot weirder than I was expecting it to be.
Stephen Hawking Elvis Presley, Muhammad Ali, and myself are all Capricorns. Just saying, it's a pretty good sign.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
So I feel okay. So the two symbols kind of impose on each other to create this weird mesh of lines. But that sits at the very top of this winged staff.
Cool. So you just have like this epic, like big, like symbol up
Yeah.
at the top of it.
And like the robes like become really flowy and long and
Are they covered in scales, like fish
yeah,
scales at the bottom?
like their skin is all fish scales, except for the bottom parts of their arms and their legs. That's still flesh.
Mm,
But they have goat legs as well.
sick. Yeah. Okay. So there's this like epic, like super tall goat fish, 6-eyed person, like briefly, and then it's gone as you guys like tumble apart.
Yeah.
And Capricorn is like more lively and restored, like their arms and legs are
And I
fleshy
feel
still.
like this part ends with both halves of the fusion grabbing him by one arm and
yeah, and
lifting
like
him up.
lifting them to their feet. Yeah. And yeah, they like lean on the two of you and like limp away. And yeah, nothing bad happens, disappointingly for me. But speaking of bad things happening, Corvus, Aquila,
Yeah.
let's negotiate this kind of situation that remains.
Perhaps we could negotiate this kind of situation that remains after a break.
You'll just have to find out during the next hour of Girl by Moonlight Stargazers.
We will see you in a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. More Stargazers to come.